Assalamualaikum and a very good day I bid to Professor Aisha and to my fellow friends. So today, my group members and I will be presenting about our Courage Intervention Program, CIP. But before we go into any details, we first need to understand what is meant by courage. So, based on various previous studies, courage is defined as the perseverance in the face of fear. According to Aristotle, virtue of life, courage is ranked first and is viewed as the most important human qualities since it is the factor that enables the development of other virtues such as benevolence and truthfulness. It can be summarized that the act of courage is also always associated with facing fears and taking risks and responsibilities. Courage plays an important role in one's personal growth and life, as it is an important attribute in making future-oriented decisions, especially among adolescents. The person's behavioral expectations, role models, beliefs, and perceptions of the fear determine the act of being courageous. Therefore, this intervention program is aimed to cultivate courageous mindset and behavior among high school students through tackling their positive emotion and self-efficacy towards courageous behavior. Altogether, there are 4 objectives in our Courage program, which is first, to encourage participants to acknowledge their strength in order to increase their courage through heightened self-efficacy. Secondly, to challenge participants to set challenging goals to gradually expose themselves to their fears. Thirdly, to teach participants the strategies to be more courageous through emotion-focused strategies. And lastly, to instill courageous behavior to the participants by the end of the module. In order to satisfy our objective, all 3 types of our interventions are based on the emotion-focused coping strategies, in which it consists of managing one's emotional response to the problem, which is in our context, fear, in order to become more courageous.
Okay, now I will explain about the first intervention for this module, which is walk the talk. So in this intervention, we will incorporate the concept of self-talk. So what is self-talk? Self-talk is a dialogue through which the individual analyzes emotions and thoughts, manages and alters judgments and convictions, and offers himself or herself guidance and encouragement. So how can self-talk increases our courage? So based on a journal article, modifying emotional responses that are related to courage, such as confidence and fear, could lead to a higher level of courage. So, because self-talk can actually modify those emotional responses. For example, self-talk can reduce irrational fear by emphasizing the need to decrease the catastrophic perceptions of imagining the worst-case scenario. So, whenever you have a worst-case scenario playing inside your head, you'll have to ask yourself, like, how probable the worst-case scenario is to occur, and if it does, would it be as dreadful as you fear? And then next is self-talk can enhance self-confidence by focusing on the positives. So for example, if you lose a football game, you would usually do a negative self-talk, such as I let everyone on my team down when I didn't score. But you can actually switch the negative self-talk into a positive self-talk by saying sports are a team event. We win and lose together. And one fun fact is that related to courage and self-talk is that if you know Muhammad Ali, which is the infamous boxer, he was known to be the king of using self-talk to increase his confidence and courage whenever he has boxing matches, to increase his courage and to become braver to face the challenging opponents. And then for the methodology, there will be 4 simple activities. The activity 1 is to provide a talk on the introduction of self-talk and its related to courage. Activity 2 is to design and write their ultimate long-term goal on a piece of paper so that they can go back and paste it on their wall so they can see it every day to increase their courage. And then activity 3 is the participants have to paste a blank paper on their back so that other participants can write positive things that they see from the person. So for example, if I think that person has good public speaking skills, I will write them down, and then the person after the activity will read all the positive things about themselves and ultimately make them feel better and erase all the negative beliefs about themselves. And then the last activity is to provide each participant a list of positive self-talk sentences that they can practice and conduct themselves. So this is because people who had never tried self-talk will usually not know what kind of sentences that they should be using. So which is why it is rational for the organizer to provide a list of examples so that they know what to expect and what sentences that they should use for self-talk to make it more effective. So that's all from me. Thank you.
So, for the second intervention is face your fear. In this intervention, the concept of journaling has been applied. Journaling refers to the act of keeping a record of individual personal thought, feeling and insight. So journaling can be done in written or draw. So how can journaling improve our courage? So based on your finding, the process of journal writing or journaling can loosen up the grip of fear. It is because journaling puts reading space between the individual thought so that the individual can view courage more objectively rather than their fear. Other than that, journaling also elaborates content in the mind through the writing so that their perception can be more clear, which indirectly makes that individual more courageous. So, for the methodology, this intervention has 3 simple activities, which for activity number 1, the trainer will explain the concept and techniques of journaling as well as give a few examples of journaling to the participant. So by doing this activity, the participant can get the overview about journaling and its relation to the courage. So in the second activity, the participant have to write answer to one question. So the question is, who is someone that you think is courageous and why? So then one participant will be chosen randomly by the trainer to present their answer. Meanwhile, for the last activity, the participant have to write answer to one question. So the question is, list the things you are afraid of and how can you overcome them. So by this activity, the participant needs to be rational in what they need to do in improving their courage.
Moving on for the third intervention, Heal Your Soul, it will be able to teach participants on how to conduct correct meditation techniques that will hope to help reduce fear, thus increase courage among the participants. Meditation is a type of mental training that tries to develop a person's essential psychological skills such as attention and emotional self-control. To understand better, meditation is a well-known activity that promotes heightened concentration and profound relaxation throughout the body. Interesting facts about meditation is that people who meditate for a long time exhibit changes in parts of the brain that deal with stress and anxiety, which has been recognized as one of the fundamental elements of fear, according to studies. Other than that, the useful techniques in the modern forms of meditations, such as deep breathing, compassion-focused meditation, and the body scan, can reduce the amount of worry and state of fear, which inhibits individuals to act courageously. Meditation practice can enhance extinction memory process through exposure practice, when individuals are encouraged to acknowledge their fear by envisioning it during the meditation. By acknowledging their fear, individuals are said to be able to consequently build tolerance towards their fear and at the same time instill courage in themselves. Through meditations, participants are encouraged to face their repressed unpleasant emotions by turning towards them rather than turning away, which latter will bring acceptance and soon have the ability to confront emotional situations with a positive attitude. Aside from that, previous study has also mentioned that meditation activities can help engage one's attention towards themselves. Therefore, it will be able to permit individuals to relax their mind and improve their self-regulation, which can help in reducing negative thoughts that could. For instance, during meditations, participants can be instructed to practice deep breathing technique, as it can help them calm their mind and focus on their self-regulations, such as asking themselves what are the things they fear the most and why are they afraid of such things. This way, it will be able to help participants to see clearly beyond their fear, the ways to overcome, as well as fixing the negative thought that they had, which will consequently help improve their courage over time, drive their fear. Therefore, the activities in the third intervention consist of a total of 3 activities, with activity 1 will be focusing on the talk on the benefits of meditations as well as on how to execute its technique through video presentation in which the participants are encouraged to follow along. The purpose of this talk is to provide participants an overview of the notion of meditation so that they may practice the activity on a daily basis. Knowing how to use these techniques correctly can help participants relax and restore control while also instilling courage. The second activity for this intervention will be called breathing body meditation activity, in which participants are required to be carrying plush animal or pillows on their heads during this exercise. If the object falls, they must list down their fears and do the exercise again. The goal is to maintain their attention on how to calm themselves down while acknowledging their concern and fear. The third activity in this intervention module is called visualization meditation exercises, in which required participants to practice deep breathing and imagining a scenario or a situation in which they can overcome the fear that they have listed earlier. After that, they will be asked to describe the situation in which they have overcome their fears in front of their friends. The objective is for them to brainstorm an idea on how to overcome their fear, which will consequently instill courage in themselves.
As a conclusion, this intervention program has utilized the Norton and Wise, the Courage Measure, CM, to measure the efficiency of the intervention in the pre and post test. And last but not least, the emotion-focused coping was fully utilized in these interventions. And I would like to end our presentation with a quote, which is, "It takes courage to grow and be who you really are." And with that, we thank you.